Namaste. Namaste. Have you been doing the short practice from today that was all about preparation for prone back bending, or did you do the full class and need an extra relaxation? So if you've been doing a lot of back bending, this short practice is of releasing poses for that back bending practice. And I'm going to use a bolster today, but you don't have to use a bolster. So you can do any of the postures that I do today without a bolster if you prefer, or over something similar like a couple of rolled blankets or some pillows. So here with my bolster, I'm going to practice child's pose to begin with. And I want to, if you've got a bolster that's filled with buckwheat, then you want to see if you can settle some of that buckwheat down to one end and put the narrower end between your knees. And I'm going to allow that bolster to come back far enough so that when I come over it in a child's pose, that I've got my head really nicely supported. Now, if you feel that you need a bit more lift, you could put a couple of blocks underneath your bolster to bring it up towards you. My toes aren't touching, but they're definitely turned in towards each other. And I can turn my head to one side or the other. Just take a few moments softening the shoulders and softening that space across the upper back. Here, the idea is to let go of any effort. So we want to release the feelings of holding or tension across the face, the forehead, around the eyes and the jaw, along the back of the neck and the shoulders and the upper back, and across the belly muscles and the leg muscles, wanting things to be as soft as possible. And as you breathe here, you might notice that as you breathe in, you get a little bit of extra space between the vertebra of the low back, that sense of sort of lifting and separating. And as you breathe out, hopefully you can feel softness creeping in to even more areas of the body. And you can hold this pose for as long as feels comfortable to you. If you don't want to focus on the time, you can count your long, deep breaths. And if you're new to practicing for sustained periods of time, then start with 10 long, deep breaths. If you lose count, don't worry about it. Maybe working up to about 25 long, deep breaths. And it's helpful to turn your head the opposite way halfway through, just to get a different sense of releasing across the neck. If your nose doesn't get in the way, you can, of course, just take your forehead to your bolster. And then when you're ready to release out, just bringing yourself into an upright position. So we've rounded through the spine here, and I want to keep that sense of rounding, but come into relaxation pose, Shavasana. So I'm going to use my bolster. I'll shake the filling back down so it's more even. Use the bolster underneath my knees. So as I lie down, I get a little bit better imprinting of my low back to the floor. It's quite different to have something underneath the knees, and it can be anything, a rolled up blanket or a couple of pillows. And then here I'm going to take my arms and wrap the left arm over the right arm and let the fingertips really find their way towards the floor. And as I do that, I can feel that space between the shoulder blades finding the ground in a similar way to my low back finding the ground here. And maybe even a little dip of the chin to lengthen out the back of the neck. If it's useful here, you can rock from side to side and just massage the space between the shoulder blades towards the floor a couple of times in each direction. Or you can simply hold the position of the arms here, as long as it feels comfortable. And whenever you're ready, you can change to the other side. So widening and then taking right arm over left arm, maybe working the fingertips slightly around the body, nestling that space between the shoulder blades, lengthening perhaps even the back of the neck. Do what feels useful to you. Perhaps here it's a sway of the head from side to side, could be a wriggle of the upper back into the floor. And then when you're ready, you can release the arms wide and simply rest here for a few deep breaths. Maybe turn the head from side to side a couple of times if it's feeling good to you, to settle the weight of the head towards the floor. And you can hold this for as long as you like. It's a great pose to practice after any yoga practice. 7 minutes of sustained stillness in Shavasana is really the minimum required to let the body lose its tone and the muscles to really soften and release. And if you do that, then you'll find that you don't carry the effort of your yoga practice into the rest of your day, and instead you feel rejuvenated, revitalized, energized. So remain in this position for as long as you wish. If you need a blanket or something to keep you nice and warm, and it's always good to have one handy. And I will join you for another practice soon. Namaste.